is a rookie wrestler at this point, by the way. But Deborah begs Mongo to take the deal, take the money. So Kevin Green crawls over to his corner, and Mongo blasts him over the head with a briefcase, allowing Ric Flair to score the pinfall victory. Macho Man then jumps into the ring and jumps on Flair. Mongo helps the Horseman pull him off, and they beat him down before he puts on the Horseman t-shirt. And now we have the era of Mongo in the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
Uncle Dave gave this 3.5 stars. I as well gave it 3.5 stars. What say you?
I gave it 3 stars as well because I liked the twist ending, which at the time I didn't see coming.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Because in the match, Mongo, like, he is beating the hell out of both of them, so it's not like he's, setting up Green. So
right,
I thought that was a good touch.
And they were in the ring with Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, two of the greatest of all time. So they let.
Also, I gotta say, Kevin Green is not as bad as Mongo. I gotta say that.
Yeah, Mongo. There's actually a Twitter page that I've turned you on to or a Twitter account that's set up. I can't remember what the @ is.
I believe Jim Cornette has a segment on YouTube about that. You got to go watch it. He goes, what do you think of the new Twitter dedicated to Mongo? But yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's what will Mongo do next? I don't know the exact handle, but I know that's it. So.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I don't remember the handle, but I remember the name. We finally get the infamous segment here where Eric Bischoff interviews Scott Hall and Kevin Nash on the stage. He says that they will wrestle at Bash at the Beach against a 3-man team representing WCW. And when Hall and Nash badger him about who the team is, Bischoff says, I'll tell you tomorrow night on Nitro. Hall gets mad, punches him in the gut, and then Kevin Nash jackknifes Bischoff off the stage through a huge table. And this brings the show to a screeching halt for a while. Like, Tony Schiavone even goes to check on him. This was something, man. One note I noticed, like, if flat out Bischoff didn't use their name, we know that, but like, yeah, it's just funny. I never realized he says to the audience, you know who they are, you know their names. And one thing I completely forgot is he flat out asked him, do you work for the WWF? Right, yeah, because of all the lawsuits coming out where they insinuated that they are coming over from the WWF still on their payroll representing them. Yeah. That's why he flat out asked him, do you work for the WWF? And Nash says, nope.
And then Scott Hall says, forget about the past, Chico. Like, wow, that's...
And then he says he's going to carve him up. So
yeah.
Oh, man. So this was a big thing. Bischoff was kind of established or getting established as, a figurehead in WCW at this point. That's why this was a big moment. And that's why Bischoff always throws shade. He was like, yeah, everybody always talks about when Austin finally went after McMahon for the first time. Ooh, he's attacking the boss. He was like, I did it first.
Yeah, I mean, he technically did, but...
Yeah. Well, Bischoff...
But to be fair, when he got this power bomb and when Vince got the stunner, and they had never flat out admitted on TV that this was the authority. It came out afterward.
Yeah.
In Vince's case, it was said, like, right after a commercial. Like, JR is like, he just stunned the owner of the company. How does he keep his job now? Like, that was that big reveal, so.
Yeah. Well, I remember when people were like, Vince McMahon, you mean the commentator guy?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so very famous segment. We know it's coming in 1 month from here at Bash at the Beach, 1996. Hulk Hogan would throw out the red and yellow and don the black and white, brother.
If I was to ever give a segment a number, I would say this is a solid 5 because of what it sets up. It is perfect.
Yes. Yep. This was great, historic, and
also going back
hilarious. So
going back to the whole "do you work for the WWF" thing at the time when they said no, they could have been lying too. We still don't, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So like, again, it throws a wrench into it. You don't know what's going on. It's like that's another part of the reason I love that segment.
Right.
It's probably one of my top 5 favorite segments ever.
It's one of the most memorable things in WCW history. That's for sure. Especially powerbombing. That looked like it. I realized he landed on a crash pad and whatever. And Bischoff said it didn't hurt whatsoever. But, man, that looked like it...
I call BS, man. His head hit the second table, dude.
Yeah, he looked like it folded him in half, man.
Yeah.
Because he didn't come flat on his back. He landed, like, shoulders and head.
Well, he's also a proud man, so he's not going to say it hurt if it did, too. Let's take that into account.
Yeah, there's that. But the main event, man...
I hate that, though, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, from a solid 5 to this... This was a stinker, man. It's the Giant defending the WCW title. He's got Jimmy Hart in his corner yet again, taking on Lex Luger. This only got 9 minutes, 21 seconds, probably 7 minutes too long. Luger comes out.
I did like that Luger came out and checked on Bischoff before he came to the ring. That was...
Yeah. It's a nice touch just to show, hey, I'm a good guy. By the way, Luger would be involved in the six-man tag at Bash of the Beach. So they actually sell that 3-pack of him, Macho, and Sting all in the face paint.
My biggest regret not getting that, yeah, I did see it multiple times. I didn't get it, and I'll tell you why, because I thought they were basics. I didn't know it was pack of cleats. So I'm kicking myself for that one.
For those that don't know, Greg is a figure snob. He won't buy basic figures.
I have a couple of basics if I know I'm not getting elites for a while, specifically Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. But Matt Riddle is getting an elite, by the way. So I'll use them as placeholders. But I did not need elite of those 3 guys. Okay, excuse me, I didn't need basics of those 3 guys because they all have elites. So,
right. At one point during the match, Jimmy Hart goes to smack Lex Luger with his megaphone, but Sting ran out and stopped him, and then chased Hart to the back. In the end, Luger lays the Giant across the top rope and attempts to get him up for the torture rack. The crowd goes nuts. But he collapses under the Giant's weight, and the Giant lands right on his head. The Giant then just hits a giant choke slam for the 1, 2, 3 to retain the world's heavyweight title. Uncle Dave gave it 1 1/4 star. I gave it 1 star. What say you?
Solid 1.
Yeah. This was
It's blue.
Yeah. And it was poorly placed. I know it's the world title. But for Pete's sake, especially with what just happened, why is this the main event? That should have closed the show. And I never ever say that Mongo should close a show, but that's one time.
It did have more of an effect, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't get it. Final grades, 411 Mania gave the show an 8.5. Wrestling 20 Years gave it an 8.5. I gave it an 8. What say you?
I went on a grading system, so I said B-.
Okay, so that'd probably be 7.5, 8. 8, yeah. So, yeah, we're all...
I don't think it was like an amazing night of wrestling, but a lot of good stuff happened to where it's like, all right, I don't hate this piece of crap.
Yeah, it was a good show overall. There was some stuff that dragged. Oddly enough, the main event was blah. That Tenta...
I'm a Luger fan, by the way. I try to find the good in his matches, but this one was just horrible.
Yeah, they had no good chemistry. It was boring. The Fire and Ice Steiner's match was fine. And then, yeah, like I said, the Big Bubba and John Tenta match sucked. But other than that, there was some good stuff, some historic moments, start of a few eras. So it was a good show overall in my opinion. We're just 1 month away, like I said, from Bash of the Beach 1996, where the NWO was formed. As we close out here, I would like to thank Wikipedia, Wrestling 20 Years, 411 Mania, and the Wrestling Observer newsletter for all my news and notes on this episode. Next week...
I will never thank the Wrestling Newsletter Observer, so sorry. Ever.
Well, I got my news and notes from there, so I got to give them a shout-out, no matter what we feel about them. But I will say, next week, I gave Greg a choice what he wanted to cover for our last show of June. I threw out some good options, I thought, and we decided on Vengeance 2005. Now, I know some of you that doesn't pop right in your head are thinking, why Vengeance 2005? It's because the main event was Batista versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell match for the world's heavyweight title.
And I believe up until last year, WrestleMania, that was the last time they ever wrestled.
I believe you are correct,
at least in
sir.
At least in a high-profile match, anyways. But
and this one, that was when the world title was on Raw, the WWE title was on SmackDown. This one actually made it onto the best of the WWE or the history of the WWE DVD box set, whatever. For some reason, John Cena versus Chris Jericho versus Christian in a triple threat for the WWE title. Kurt Angle took on Shawn Michaels in a rematch from WrestleMania 21. Lots of good stuff on this show, man. Kane and Edge. So I think it was a return of Matt Hardy on the show, if I remember correctly.
Or building up to it.
Yeah. So that's that. It was a good show. I got to go back and rewatch it. I haven't watched it since 2005. I remember marking out for Batista at the time.
The theme was badass, too. It was from Mudvayne.
I'll have to go back and listen because...
what's the name of that song? I'm forgetting the name of the song, but I know the song. It's so badass. I have it right here. Hold on. Happy. It's called Happy.
Oh, yeah. I love that song. It's one of my favorites by them. But yeah, so all in all, it was a good show. So we want to review a kind of obscure one. I mean, it's somewhat obscure because it's not one of the big ones that you always hear about. So that's next week. And we are officially on iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, PodChaser, and Spreaker, and hopefully more by the time all this drops. So go check us out and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @mainevent_marks. Thanks for joining me again today, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you all next week later on.